Take your knees over to one side and then stretch them over the other way. So remember, I want you to think of lift, not so much how far over you can go, but how up you can get. You could always go fist if that helps you here with your wrist. If you're a beginner or you're just getting started starting to do exercises at home, then you're in the right place. Teaching beginners is my specialty. And even if you're just coming back to it, you might have done Pilates in the past before and you want to get back into it, or maybe start up a home routine, doing some things at home, then these 6 moves are really good ones to start with as you get back into it. So the first move we're going to do is laying on our back, and we're going to get started with some pelvic tilts. So go ahead and lie down with me. Now, while this movement seems like a very small movement, it's actually quite really important, and it's quite really good for the abdominal muscles, because what we're going to do is just touch your lower back towards the mat so the pelvis tilts towards you, and then you tilt the other way. It doesn't actually have to be a very big movement for a lot to be going on. So as we move your pelvis forward and back, you'll notice that your lower back feels like it's stretching a little bit. When your lower back is touching the mat, you've lengthened your lower back. And then when your tailbone goes towards the mat, you've got into a little arch. There might even be a little space there in the small of your back. So as you do this, if you keep your feet really light, you're going to notice that your abdominals need to initiate the movement. And it's a nice way to sort of wake up the muscles here through your center before we progress and do some other things with our class. It's a lovely way to stretch the lower back, and also giving you a lot of awareness of where you are in space, so that when we do other movements, we can be sure to keep our pelvis steady if that's what the exercise calls for. So just forward and back. Sometimes I put my hands here and just notice the feeling of the bones tipping this way and then tipping that way. And with the breath, it's nice to incorporate that here too. So when I'm in that little arch where the tailbone's touching towards the mat, I breathe in. And then when I touch my lower back to the mat, I breathe out, and I feel like the pubic bone is drawing up towards the belly. So there's like a deepening, a stronger feeling. So inhale when you're arcing away, exhale when you're tucking towards you. Keep the feet light. Your abdominals are helping do this movement, and it's maybe smaller than you might even think. Sometimes I exaggerate the movement so you can see it on the screen, but it's really quite small. Lots goes on the inside. You can feel that movement right through your spine. And then I want you just to come back to where your body feels even, just the natural curve of your spine. Now, we're going to keep our body in that nice neutral shape and reach our fingertips up towards the ceiling. Let's give our shoulders a little stretch here. So we're going to reach our arms overhead and then bring them back up to the ceiling. Take a breath in, and when you reach your arms, you breathe out so that the ribs stay soft and in your body. If I let my spine help me do that shoulder movement, it looks like this, where I've arced my back and my ribs are puffed forward. So it's easier to get my hands on the mat when I do that. But if I just keep my body settled in at the front and only move my arm, breathing out will help you. It's much harder to get my arm all the way to the ground. And so that's not the goal. The goal is to keep the ribs settled in, you're breathing out, so you feel a really good stretch on your shoulder. And if your arms don't touch the ground today, that's okay. Inhale up, exhale, arc. Inhale up, exhale, arc. So slow, really aware of your body and how it's moving. And as you do a few, you might notice, oh, I'm getting a little bit further. And last one. Good. Then from here, we're going to add a leg movement. So we're just going to lift one leg up into tabletop and then put it back down softly, and then the other leg lifts up and you put it down. Now, if you remember the first movement we did, we moved our pelvis forward and back. This time I want you to keep your pelvis very steady. So you move the thigh bone in the hip, but your spine's not moving and your pelvis isn't tipping forward and back. I usually find it's nice to breathe in when I lift up the leg and then breathe out as I put it down. And I'm trying to move from the thigh bone. So I'm actually arcing the thigh bone to put the foot back down rather than bending the knee. So it's a real, feels like a real fold here at the front. And then what we can do is add some arms to this. So we lift up one leg, and as we put it down, we're going to arc the arms overhead. Inhale, leg comes up, arms come up. Exhale, toe taps down, arms go back, and then arms up, leg up. So I'm breathing out when the foot's down and the arms are overhead, and inhale when everything's up to the ceiling. So you want to go slowly. So you're thinking about being nice and steady. And you're thinking of matching up your movement with your breath. Thinking about your ribs and also the lower back. So everything is nice and steady, even though you're moving your arms and legs about. You're steady through your torso. And if you would like to make this a little harder, pause when you've got your fingers up to the ceiling and one leg up to tabletop. What you can do here is bring up the other leg as well. So now we've got both arms up, both legs up. And when one toe taps down to the mat, the arms arc overhead and then everything comes back. Our starting point again, and then the other toe taps down and the arms arc over and back. So this one is a good one to progress to because it means I can really feel my abdominals helping to support my lower back. But if you feel like your back's starting to arc away from the floor, or you feel like it's too achy in the low back, then it's better to go back to just lifting up one leg at a time. And then this is where we can work towards to get. We'll do one more on each side. And then just hug your knees into your chest. And then a quick little stretch out, feet fairly wide as the mat. You take your knees over to one side and then stretch them over the other way. Sometimes you can get a little bit tight there through the front of the hip. Did you feel that? So this is a nice way just to open that out before we move on to the next move. So for our next one, our feet come back in, hip distance apart, hands down beside us. We're going to lift the hips up into a bridge, and we start that by moving the pelvis with our pelvic tilt. So I'm going to touch my lower back into the mat and then just lift up my hips. And I'm thinking of reaching my knees right over my toes or to the other edge of the room, and then lay your back down on the mat. And I'm thinking of trying to place each vertebrae down bone by bone to really get the whole spine to move really smoothly. So once you're down, tilt the pelvis and then press down with your feet. Your hips lift up, you're reaching your knees. A little bit of energy from the inner thigh, so your knees aren't going out to the side. And then you should really feel your glutes and your hamstrings. And if you press your arms down, you even feel your upper back as well. Good. And then when you lay down, it's a soft feeling. So you just breathe out and you just let it go. Lay your back down with length. So really think of long and relax. And then we come up again. So tilt the pelvis, press down with your feet, press down with the upper arm, lift the hips, reaching nice and long through the thigh, open through the chest. Everything feels strong and working, even the abdominals. And then you lay yourself down. As you start to soften down, you just let all that tight feeling go, trying to touch the lower back as well on the way down. We'll do one more, noticing your spine peeling up off the mat as you come up. So feel that strength. Take a breath in and breathe out, bone by bone. Go slowly so you can really visualize how that's happening, including the lower back just touching the mat, and then you're back to an even position. Good. We're going to either roll to the side to hop up, or you can hold on behind the back of your legs and give yourself a little rock. Good. I want you to sit like this now. We call this Z-sit position, where we have one foot in front and one foot behind. So as often as you can, you want to get on the floor and sit in positions like this. But just make sure you switch from side to side. And it's a good place to be in our Pilates as well, because we're actually working on internal and external rotation of the hip, and we need to keep that movement. So even if you're not sitting square or you can't get quite even, that's okay. Just keep practicing and sit as best you can upright and tall. We're going to go into a little side movement now. So we just go over to the side. This is really good to move our spine to the side as well. So I want you to think of really up and over, and then think of up to come back. You're going to then, of course, work your center to help you get back up. That's it. Sometimes it's easy to sort of lean on your arm and your shoulder comes up to your ear. I want you to soften your elbow towards your waist to make this hand a little lighter, so that the shoulder's not coming up. And then we're going to switch the legs round and see how it feels to sit this way. Of course, we're always different side to side. That's one of the good things about Pilates, is that it picks up all the differences side to side, and then it gives us clues about how we can bring more balance back. It. So remember, I want you to think of lift, not so much how far over you can go, but how up you can get. I actually think it's a lot harder to up. And opening up the rib cage will really help your upper back strength and mobility. So getting those ribs to move, plus it feels really nice, doesn't it? Breathing into the side body and then coming back. Crawl around now onto your hands and knees, and we just line ourselves up, hands under our shoulders, and you pop your knees under your hips. And the first thing to do is to think about, so here I am in my neutral shape, my spine's got that little curve in the low back, but what I'm going to do is just think about bringing my tummy, my abdominals away from the floor, and you can see my lower back flattened a little bit. You can do that too. So now I can still talk to you, but it's actually, I can feel quite a lot of work. I'm holding up a little bit through my abdominals, and I'm lifting up out of my underarms as well. Tuck your toes, and we're going to lift up your abdominals so much that your knees just hover off the mat, and then just really softly put them back down. You could always go fist if that helps you here with your wrist. Okay. So I'm thinking of making this, I'm thinking of it like an abdominal exercise, right? So I'm drawing my abdominals in and a little hover. And this is great for your toes, to practice folding the toes like this. Really good for the arch of the foot. The aim isn't to get the knees really high, it's just to keep that steadiness through your spine. And my eyes are just on the floor in front of me a little bit. So the back of my neck is lifted up. So you shouldn't feel it through your neck or anything. And then what we're going to do is a little lift and hold. So abs first, then hover, and then I just take a breath in and out. Smooth and easy with the breath. Harder than it looks, I know. And then back and down. Good. Untuck your toes and take a little stretch. We have one more on our hands and knees, so come on up here. And what we're going to do is, again, I'm going to bring my abdominals in, so I've got a little bit of a stronger feeling here at the front. And then I'm going to take my opposite arm and leg and reach them out in line with my body. So big stretch, and I'm thinking of keeping my hip bones square, looking down towards the mat, lifting up out of my underarm, and then I bring everything back, trying to keep a real steadiness through my body. I inhale to get ready, and then I exhale because it helps me connect through my center as I reach long. This hip wants to lift up and look that way to the side, but I'm going to square it off. So that means my leg needs to lower a little bit. And I'm thinking long and strong, nice and steady through my spine. And again, put your eyes on the floor in front of your hands. Sometimes it's these slow moves that can be really challenging. So doing more reps doesn't necessarily mean better here. If you can move slowly and really connect through, lifting up through your abdominals, you're working through your arm and shoulder, your hips are square, you can feel the glute, the hamstring. There's a lot going on, so just be really mindful. Trust the process that slow and steady is actually doing a lot of good in your body, building those connections. And if it feels too wobbly, or you feel a little wobbly, some days I have a wobbly day and this feels like I'm all over, I can't keep my body steady, just slide the fingers and toes along the floor today and bring it back. So I've already done a Pilates class this morning before I recorded this, so I feel pretty steady. But often if I'm just having one of those days, I'll just do this, and that's okay. Okay, and then sit back and give your wrists a little break. We are going to hop onto your tummy now and just prop yourself up on your elbows. Now there's not much to do here on this move, just think about your shape. So I want you to press down with your elbows and lift up your chest. So no, we're not sinking down between our shoulders, we're lifting up. It feels a little bit to me like the collarbones are smiling, and I'm stretching my legs out long and I'm opening my chest, and I actually feel my shoulder blades a little bit like they're sliding down my back. So now I feel my triceps and my back muscles. Now if you feel your lower back, I want you to just think of lifting your tummy away from the floor a little bit, all right, and aiming your tailbone to your heels. I don't want you to feel your lower back here. It shouldn't feel pinchy or tight. So adjust your body so it feels like you can feel your triceps, you can feel your back muscles, you feel your chest opening, and your head and neck, it's just like an extension of your spine. So you don't need to lift your chin up too high, and we're not looking down at the mat, it's just a bit straight out in front. So just hold that there. Nice breath out as you sink into it through the upper back. So this is a way you can reverse a rounded shape, is practice being in this position. And then just come all the way down. Hands beside you, sit back and stretch your back the other way. So you sit back towards your feet as much as you can. You can reach your arms forward or you can have them tucked in. And then just bring yourself up onto your knees. And that's you all done. Good work. So if you are interested in learning how to do Pilates at home, I'm teaching a free workshop and I'd love for you to come along. So I'm going to go through foundational exercises, which I think every beginner should know. I'll teach you how to do them really well so that you feel really confident with those. And I'm also going to show you how to set up a home routine. So how you can fit in home exercises with whatever you have on through the week, and how you can do that so that you can notice your posture getting better, you can start to feel like your balance is improving, and that you just feel really strong and confident within yourself. So if you'd like to come along, the link's below, and I'm looking forward to meeting you then.